Go ahead.
You had given us an assurance, Chair, that you'll give us an opportunity to raise the issue of the personnel of the Commission. So if, Chair, you could allow me, all these things we are talking about, this exercise will have a human element. The Commission has already recruited returning officers both for the county and for the constituencies. It has also recruited deputy returning officers for the constituencies. Chair, we have noted with concern that there is a great tribal imbalance, ethnic imbalance in the composition of those returning officers. If you want the details, Chair, Kenya is a country that is made up of at least 50 communities, diverse communities. But when it comes to the returning officers at the county level, 10, nearly 10, because there are 8 from one community. And that community has a presidential candidate in this election. By comparison, the next community that has a candidate in this election at the top level only has 4 returning officers at the county level. Chair, we have also noted that at the constituency level, when it comes to returning officers and deputy returning officers, we are talking about 290 plus 290, 580. Out of 580 key personnel at the constituency level, we have nearly 100 from one community. I have the figures.
Can we answer?
Yes, I have the figures. I have the data. I have compared, even with the strength of these communities when it comes to the population of the country. The community that I'm talking about that is leading is not the community that is leading in terms of the general population, but yet in every aspect, they have at least double the number of personnel. Chair, you will note that these returning officers are the ones who are recruiting the actual personnel that will conduct this election at the polling station level. That is the real theater of operations for this election. And therefore, if we have...
we have understood you.
Yes, yes.
Can we
and lastly, on the same issue, we are already receiving complaints. We are already receiving complaints from some of these places where these officers are deployed. We're talking about Kisii, we're talking about Busia, we're talking about Bungoma. We are receiving complaints from the ground that the recruitment of presiding officers is not going, is going in a very skewed way. And therefore, kindly address that. These concerns will be followed by a written document. Thank you very much.
So, do we wait for the written or? No.
You can respond.
Yeah.
We will still follow it because I've not expressed everything that there is to express because of time.
Thank you. Prof, you want to say something? But as Professor speaks, I don't think there's any institution in this which has the face of Kenya as does have. But Prof, go on with it. And right now we have officers in Bomas. The face of Kenya is in Bomas. But Professor...
Thank you, Chair. The reason why we said we wanted to meet in camera is because some people get excited with camera. This is to politicize this
Unless
function.
you want to give me a right to respond.
Excuse me, you have asked a question, I will have a right to respond.
Do not attack my character. I'm here, I can defend myself.
I want to respond to the question in my own manner.
Character.
Okay? Have some order, please.
IEBC recruits personnel in this manner. When there is a constituency position, the recruitment is locked to the constituency. There are 290 constituencies in Kenya. which therefore means recruitment is based at the constituency level. The DRO, the Deputy Returning Officer, the Returning Officer are both recruited, and their ID must read they come from born and brought up in, or born in that constituency. This is to ensure we have the face of Kenya in the commission. When we have a county position, because we devolved our functions in 2017 when we came to office ourselves, we started the county manager position. The first criteria for employing somebody as a county manager or a county accountant or a county ICT or county supply chain is your ID must read that county. The Commission has moved away from using temporary returning officers more than a decade ago. For anyone to insinuate we have just recruited ROs based on skewed tribal affiliation is misleading and wrong. We recruited our staff, some of them as far back as 2012. They are all permanent and pensionable staff of the Commission. In 2017, when there were by-elections all over, the Commission had a disciplinary process, having called all returning officers that had issues in their constituencies. We dealt with them. And the reason why we moved away from temporary ROs is because we want people who are on permanent and pensionable terms, who in the event something happens, they have a lot more to lose than just the 2-3 months they are hired. If you go to Bomas of Kenya today, there are 890 personnel of IEBC on full permanent and pensionable terms. They are the ones who are going to oversee the election. They oversaw the election in 2017 and in 2013. Let's not politicize the staff of IEBC. We are only recruiting temporary deputy constituency returning officer, one position. We have a permanent returning officer on permanent and pensionable terms, recruited in the manner I described earlier. And we have a permanent and pensionable deputy returning officer. So we are having an additional one that is temporary, so that we have in every constituency one returning officer and 2 deputy returning officers, one of them being temporary. And the temporary returning officer deals mostly with only logistical arrangements and not results. At the county level, we have a full-time permanent and pensionable county returning officer. What we have only done is to give him one temporary assistant to help him in the process. But at his disposal is a county ICT, a county accountant, and a county supply chain. So the issue of tribalizing IEBC or balkanizing into one of the 43 ethnic tribes does not arise. We are not a tribal institution. We are a national institution undertaking a national mandate. And our focus is purely on that. If you have a problem with any postings and you have an individual case, please come and see the chairman and say, I have an issue here. And we will deal with it. But criminalizing and giving an impression that the commission is only serving one ethnic group or ethnicity is wrong. We will not entertain that kind of judgments by anyone. Our staff, we will defend them as much as it has to be, because we want them to be nationalists and to serve this country regardless of where they are posted and whom they will be serving. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Prof. All the tribes of Kenya work for IEBC, including the smallest tribe. So, if you have any data to the contrary, share with me. There was a hand here. Has your issue been addressed? Yes, Professor.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Kithure Kindiki. On behalf of the UDA,